Hello viewer, welcome to our program. This evening we are going to discuss about priesthood. We want to understand it from the Bible, and to take us through that topic of priesthood, I have my brother James. He's going to introduce himself so that he may take over. Welcome, James.
Thank you, Lucy. Again, just as she has said, my name is James. I am born again. I am Christ's ambassador here on earth. Welcome to this program.
Now, our viewer, today we have said we are going to discuss about priesthood. We want to understand the priesthood of Jesus versus the priesthood of Levitical priesthood. So as we continue to read the Word of God, let us continue to concentrate and let us understand what the Bible is saying. So, James, where do we start from there?
Well, thank you very much, Lucy. Indeed, priesthood is a very, very important topic that people need to understand because in the past it has wrongly been interpreted, and so we have had people who are, in the priesthood of Christ, because that is what is current, but then they are still behaving as though they are still under the Levitical priesthood. And so it has brought a lot of problem. People find themselves in a very awkward situation because there are instances where they want to be in the priesthood of Christ. There are instances where they are actually in the priesthood of Levi, which is actually an abnormality that we want to address today.
Okay, from what you are saying, James, you want to tell us that there is a difference between the Levitical priesthood and the priesthood of Jesus?
Oh yes, precisely. And maybe to make us understand very well, number one is to understand what a priest is or who a priest is.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, we'll now be able to understand the priesthood that are made reference in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And from there, we are going to narrow it down to see in which priesthood we are.
Okay.
And, thank you.
Okay, now for us to start, maybe you can tell us the difference, or what does a priest mean? Who is a priest?
Oh, thank you very much. Now, maybe for us to be able to understand it, especially from the Bible perspective, mm-hmm. I would request that we read from the Bible, mm-hmm. in Hebrews chapter number 5. Mm-hmm. Hebrews chapter number 5, mm-hmm. maybe we can read from verse number 1.
Okay, let me read it. Hebrews chapter number 5. This is New King James Version. Mm-hmm. From verse 1 it says, mm-hmm. For every high priest taken from among men is appointed for men in things pertaining to God, that he may offer both gifts and sacrifices for sins.
Wow, just hold it there. So now in Hebrews, the writer of Hebrew is trying to define for us what or who a priest is. He says that a priest is one who represents the people to God by way of sacrifices and
gifts.
And gifts.
Yes.
By way of sacrifices and gifts. Mm-hmm. So that basically is what a priest does. Mm-hmm. Please let's continue to verse number 2.
Verse number 2 it says, mm-hmm. He can have compassion on those who are ignorant and going astray, mm-hmm. since he himself is also subject to weakness.
Wow, so it means that the priest that we are being made reference to here, mm-hmm. is actually one who is not a perfect priest, mm-hmm. because alongside him offering gifts and sacrifices to the people, he himself has also to offer sacrifices to himself, mm-hmm. because he himself is also subject to
sin. Yes. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Verse number 3, mm-hmm. Because of this he is required as for the people, mm-hmm. so also for himself, mm-hmm. to offer sacrifices for sins. Mm-hmm. And no man takes, mm-hmm. his honor to himself, mm-hmm. but he who is called by God, just, mm-hmm. as Aaron was.
Right. Now, he has made reference to this one character called Aaron. And he's telling us that Aaron was actually, elected by God. Right?
Yeah.
So he does not take that credit to himself because it is God who appointed Aaron. Okay?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
In verse number 5, so also Christ did not glorify himself to become high priest, but it was he who said to him.
And I want us to go very slowly there because there is the person who he's speaking and the
one
person
who
who
is talking to.
Yeah, he's the one talking to. So he says,
So also Christ did not glorify himself to become high priest.
Christ did not glorify himself to become high priest, and I want to explain here, just like in the case of Aaron, who was also selected by God, right?
Yes.
So in a similar manner, Christ also did not, take that glory to himself, because it is God, he, according to the Bible, he says, it is he, now God, who said to him, now Christ,
You are my son, today I have begotten you.
Now, this is a conversation between God
And the
and
son.
the Son.
As he also says in another place, you are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek.
You are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. But then, if we now, because now here he has brought, two parallels. There is the priesthood of Aaron, and then now he has said that there is also this other priesthood of Christ, which is in the order of Melchizedek.
Verse number 7. Who is the days of his flesh when he had offered up prayers and supplications with vehement cries and tears to him, who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his godly fear. Though he was a son, yet he learned obedience by the things which he suffered.
Right. Maybe we can first pause there. The important thing that I want us to pick from this chapter, chapter number 5, is who a priest is.
Yes.
A priest is one who represents the people to God, and he does this by, sacrifices and gifts.
Yeah.
He offers gifts and sacrifices on behalf of the people.
Yes.
But we see now the Aaronic priesthood, which is actually the priesthood of Levi, as we are going to see later, is one where it is also God who actually selected Aaron. It is God actually who said, who told Moses to tell Aaron that he had selected him to be a priest to represent the people of Israel. But now we also see a very interesting scenario. He introduces something about Christ, and he says that, it is he, God, who said to him, Christ, you are my son, today I have begotten you.
Yes.
What does that mean? That Christ is not a son of God by birth, it is by declaration.